incarnated in a material organism, even wandered in the darkness of mortal existence. The followers of Muhammad apparently sensed more accurately than the uninitiated of other sects the true mystic import of paradise, for they realized that prior to his fall the dwelling place of man was not in a physical garden in any particular part of the earth, but rather in a higher sphere, the angelic world, watered by 4 mystical streams of life. After his banishment from paradise, Adam alighted on the island of Ceylon, and this spot is sacred to certain Hindu sects who recognize the old island of Lanka, once presumably connected with the mainland by a bridge, as the actual site of the Garden of Eden from which the human race migrated. According to the Arabian Nights Sir Richard Burton's translation, Adam's footprint may still be seen on the top of a Cyclades mountain. In the Islamic legends, Adam was later reunited with his wife, and after his death his body was brought to Jerusalem subsequent to the flood for burial by Melchizedek. See the Quran. The word Adam signifies a species or race, and only for lack of proper understanding has Adam been considered as an individual. As the macrocosm, Adam is the gigantic androgen, even the demiurgus. As the microcosm, he is the chief production of the demiurgus, and within the nature of the microcosm the demiurgus established all the qualities and powers which he himself possessed. The demiurgus, however, did not possess immortality and, therefore, could not bestow it upon Adam. According to legend, the demiurgus strove to keep man from learning the incompleteness of his maker. The Adamic man consequently partook of the qualities and characteristics of the angels who were the ministers of the demiurgus. It was affirmed by the Gnostic Christians that the redemption of humanity was assured through the descent of Nous universal mind, who is a great spiritual being superior to the demiurgus, and who, entering into the constitution of man, conferred conscious immortality upon the demiurgic fabrications. That phallic symbolism occupies an important place in early Jewish mysticism is indisputable. Hargreave Jennings sees in the figure of Adam a type of the lingam of Shiva, which was a stone representative of the creative power of the world generator. In Gregory's works, writes Jennings, is a passage to the effect that Noah daily prayed in the ark before the body of Adam, that is, before the phallus, Adam being the primitive phallus, great procreator of the human race. It may possibly seem strange, he says, that this orison should be daily said before the body of Adam, but it is a most confessed tradition among the Eastern men that Adam was commanded by God that his dead body should be kept above ground till a fullness of time should come to commit it to the middle of the earth by a priest of the Most High God. This means Mount Moriah, the Meru of India. This body of Adam was embalmed and transmitted from father to son, till at last it was delivered up by Lamech into the hands of Noah. See phallicism. This interpretation somewhat clarifies the Kabbalistic assertion that in the first Adam were contained all the souls of the Israelites. See Sad. Though according to the Aurea legenda Adam was buried with the 3 seeds of the tree of knowledge in his mouth, it should be borne in mind that apparently conflicting myths were often woven around a single individual. One of the profound mysteries of Kabbalism is that set forth in the Notarikon based upon the letters of the name Adam Adm. These 3 letters form the initials of the names Adam, David, and the Messiah, and these 3 personalities were said to contain one soul. As the soul represents the world soul of humanity, Adam signifies the involving soul, the Messiah the evolving soul, and David the condition of the soul termed epigenesis. In common with certain philosophic institutions of Asia, the Jewish mysteries contained a strange doctrine concerning the shadows of the gods. Gazing down into the abyss, the Elohim beheld their own shadows, and from these shadows patterned the inferior creation. In the dramatic representation of the creation of man in the mysteries, writes the anonymous master of Balliol College, the Elim Elohim were represented by men who, when sculpturing the form of an Adamite being, of a man, traced the outline of it on their own shadow, or modelled it on their own shadow traced on the wall. This is how the art of drawing originated in Egypt, and the hieroglyphic figures carved on the Egyptian monuments have so little relief that they still resemble a shadow. In the ritualism of the early Jewish mysteries the pageantry of creation was enacted, the various actors impersonating the creative agencies. The red dirt from which the Adamic man was fashioned may signify fire, particularly since Adam is related to the Yod, or fire flame, which is the first letter of the sacred name Jehovah. In John E. 20 it is written that the temple was 46 years in the building, a statement in which St. Augustine sees a secret and sacred gematria. For, according to the Greek philosophy of numbers, the numerical value of the name Adam is 46. Adam thus becomes the type of the temple, for the house of God, like primitive man, was a microcosm or epitome of the universe. In the mysteries, Adam is accredited with having the peculiar power of spiritual generation. Instead of reproducing his kind by the physical generative processes, he caused to issue from himself, or, more correctly, to be reflected upon substance, a shadow of himself. This shadow he then instilled and it became a living creature. These shadows, however, remain only as long as the original figure of which they are the reflections endures, for with the removal of the original the host of likenesses vanish with it. Herein is the key to the allegorical creation of Eve out of the side of Adam. For Adam, representative of the idea or pattern, is reflected into the material universe as a multitude of ensouled images which collectively are designated Eve. According to another theory, the division of the sexes took place in the archetypal sphere. Hence the shadows in the lower world were divided into two classes consistent with the orders established in the archetype. In the apparently incomprehensible attraction of one sex for the other, Plato recognized a cosmic urge toward reunion of the severed halves of this archetypal being. Exactly what is to be inferred by the division of the sexes as symbolically described in Genesis is a much debated question. That man was primarily androgynous is quite universally conceded, and it is a reasonable presumption that he will ultimately regain this bisexual state. As to the manner in which this will be accomplished, two opinions are advanced. One school of thought affirms that the human soul was actually divided into two parts, male and female, and that man remains an unperfected creature until these parts are reunited through the emotion which man calls love. From this concept has grown the much abused doctrine of soulmates who must quest through the ages until the complementary part of each severed soul is discovered. The modern concept of marriage is to a certain degree founded upon this ideal. According to the other school, this so-called division of the sexes resulted from suppression of one pole of the androgynous being in order that the vital energies manifesting through it might be diverted to development of the rational faculties. From this point of view, man is still actually androgynous and spiritually complete, but in the material world the feminine part of man's nature and the masculine part of woman's nature are quiescent. Through spiritual unfoldment and knowledge imparted by the mysteries, however, the latent element in each nature is gradually brought into activity, and ultimately the human being thus regains sexual equilibrium. By this theory, woman is elevated from the position of being man's errant part to one of complete equality. From this point of view, marriage is regarded as a companionship in which two complete individualities manifesting opposite polarities are brought into association, that each may thereby awaken the qualities latent in the other and thus assist in the attainment of individual completeness. The first theory may be said to regard marriage as an end. The second as a means to an end. The deeper schools of philosophy have leaned toward the latter as more adequately acknowledging the infinite potentialities of divine completeness in both aspects of creation. The Christian Church is fundamentally opposed to the theory of marriage, claiming that the highest degree of spirituality is achievable only by those preserving the virginal state. This concept seemingly originated among certain sects of the early Gnostic Christians, who taught that to propagate the human species was to increase and perpetuate the power of the demiurgus. For the lower world was looked upon as an evil fabrication created to ensnare the souls of all born into it, hence it was a crime to assist in bringing souls to earth. When, therefore, the unfortunate father or mother shall stand before the final tribunal, all their offspring will also appear and accuse them of being the cause of those miseries attendant upon physical existence. This view is strengthened by the allegory of Adam and Eve, whose sin through which humanity has been brought low is universally admitted to have been concerned with the mystery of generation. Mankind, owing to Father Adam its physical existence, regards its progenitor as the primary cause of its misery. And in the judgment day, rising up as a mighty progeny, will accuse its common paternal ancestor. Those Gnostic sects maintaining a more rational attitude on the subject declared the very existence of the lower worlds to signify that the Supreme Creator had a definite purpose in their creation. To doubt his judgment was, therefore, a grievous error. The Church, however, seemingly arrogated to itself the astonishing